Welcome to Esthetician Edit.
I'm Anastasia.
I'm Samantha, and today we have two very special guests. We have the Esty Collaborative here honoring us with their presence.
Yes.
Thank you. They drove all the way from Orlando to be on the podcast, so thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And our very first
Very
podcast
first
guest.
podcast, yes.
I mean, honored is an
Honored,
understatement,
for sure,
seriously.
for sure.
Yeah.
So do you ladies mind introducing yourself? We have Andrea and Ashley.
Yes. My name is Andrea. I am an esthetician in Orlando, Florida. I've been a licensed esthetician for going on 7 years. I specialize in corrective skin, acne. That's my area of specialty. And I love helping people. And that's just why we're here.
Yeah. And I'm Ashley. I'm a licensed esthetician going on 9 years in Orlando, Florida. And I specialize in age management, corrective skincare, chemical peels, dermaplaning, microneedling. And yeah, just so excited to be here with my partner from the Esty Collaborative.
We're so excited to have
Yeah.
you guys on our podcast.
And so today we're going to be talking about the journey from esthetician to educator. I actually just went to visit Orlando to have a class with Ashley. She taught me how to use the CIT pen from Herbal Skin Solution. We did a microneedling class, and it was so good.
Yeah.
Like, the way that you taught was so amazing. You were very patient with me. Like, just any questions I had to ask you, like, it was so good. I felt really comfortable because sometimes it could be a little bit scary, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that's actually how Ashley and I met.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. When I became an esthetician, I was like looking for a company to buy into, and I bought into Herbal Skin Solution, bought me a pen, and they told me that the training came free. And this was like, I don't know, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
she trained me, and we've just, I don't know, kept contact over the years, and now she's like my Esty bestie.
Yes.
I love that.
And
That's
she's
so
a great
special.
trainer. She's a great
She's
trainer.
really, really
yeah,
good.
for
Yeah.
sure.
We love Ashley.
Oh my gosh, I love you guys too.
So if you two don't mind, just kind of sharing more about the Esty Collaborative, where the idea came from, how long you guys have been doing the podcast, and I know you guys have a networking group as well.
Yeah.
And I think you have an event coming up soon.
Yeah,
Right?
we do.
So if you want to talk a little bit about that also.
Yeah. So the Esty Collaborative, me and Andrea had kept in touch over the years, but an opportunity became available to rent a room inside of her space. And I was looking for something new and exciting. So moving into her space, it was like working around estheticians again, which I hadn't been for a while. I was like solo esthetician. And again, you know how like that can feel when you don't have that community day in and day out working with other professionals. So yeah, once I started at Luminous Wax and Aesthetics, it just me and her were every single day just coming in with like new ideas or just brainstorming with each other. And I'm huge. I mean, I've worked for the brand Herbal Skin Solutions for the last 7 years and the Aesthetics Academy. So I've always given back as far as resources, education, no gatekeeping, you know, from the shows that
Yeah.
we've
Yeah,
done,
no,
you know,
for
we're really
sure.
thorough. And I really had this passion of like wanting to share that with other estheticians. I know for me, when I first started, having that support system is really what helped elevate my career and give me the confidence that I have now to be able to reciprocate that to our SD community. So I just feel like a support system is so important. And we were kind of that for each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, for sure.
we went out to lunch one day and just started brainstorming all of our ideas. Let's start a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Let's have a little event at the office and get some of our, you know, Orlando estheticians together and to network and kind of just built from there.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah.
like Sam and I.
Yeah.
Now we're getting together and we're like, with all these ideas, we have to do this and we have to do that.
Sometimes we have to
Yeah.
stop ourselves because I'm
Yes.
like, all right, Ashley.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
We talk about
Yeah.
everything
'Cause
but
you get-
opening up a laundromat.
Yeah.
I'm like, we gotta stop.
Two minds is better than one.
For sure.
Right?
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
The inspiration just keeps flowing. Like,
That's
and
the
again,
thing.
when you have that community of people and when your mission is the same, right?
Yeah.
Like we're both very focused on like where we want the SD Collaborative Collaborative to eventually be, you know, how we want to expand it and offer unique and different things for the community. So that passion, definitely, you play off of each other really well, you know?
Yeah.
You do. And it's so important it was so important for Ashley and I. Once we had that lunch date and we're like, let's build a community where we can support other estheticians and we can be the area where they come to for resources, to get whatever information they may need, training classes, whatever we can do to help. If we don't have it, we'll guide them in the right direction. But it was very important because, like she said, when you become an esthetician, it's so hard to get out there and know which direction to go. And, you know, I kind of been there, not having a mentor, not having anyone that I could like reach out to and talk to about anything. And I kind of felt alone in the beginning. So we kind of wanted to take that part of that fear out of what estheticians may feel when they come out of school and give them a place where they can trust, come to. We don't gatekeep. We give them all the gems, all the information. We give free stuff away all the time.
Yeah.
We have just built a great community of amazing sponsors too that just backed us from the time we started. They're like, what do you need? And you know, it's just so amazing to just see people support what we're trying to build.
Yeah, and I feel like that's something that's super big in the the ST community. I feel like everyone just wants to help each other. Everyone wants to grow with each other, and having these kinds of podcasts or these forums and these events is what keeps them going, right?
Yes.
So
It keeps us inspired.
And I think like don't be afraid to voice like your vision to other estheticians or to, for example, like you said, your sponsors and stuff, because you'd be surprised the people that are willing to get behind you and to support you.
and to support you,
Yeah.
lots and lots of supporting in this industry.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand, so
Yeah.
I love that.
And I really like how you mentioned not gatekeeping, because I mean, as a newer esthetician, like just being in school, obviously we all don't really learn so much in school, so I relied a lot on podcasts to learn. And I would listen to a podcast and sometimes I'd be like, okay, like give me knowledge, give me information. Like, you know, you're kind of beating around the bush. So it's really refreshing to listen to a podcast that is actually telling you like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
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 Yeah.
So kudos to you ladies for doing that.
Thank you.
Would you say that it was like an organic, like individually becoming educators? Was it like an organic transition for you, or were there like kind of just challenges? Like, was it something that it came naturally?
For me, it definitely came natural. I started off, again, by myself, out there just doing what I got to do to learn and be the best in what I knew I wanted to specialize in. I do waxing as well as, you know, corrective skincare. And I got a lot of estheticians that used to, can I come and sit with you? Can I come and shadow you? Can I come and, you know, would you be my mentor? And I'm like, yeah. And in the beginning, a lot of it was like, sure, come on. And then a lot of times, when you put yourself out there a lot for people, you kind of don't feel the same love back in return. So it kind of just put it to where, you know what, instead of me just doing it where I'm like, all right, I'm giving all these gems. I'm going to give the gems, but I'm going to add value to it by giving them at-home kits and teaching them my exact techniques and creating an actual class. And it actually just came natural. I started my very first class that I had 10 people in my class.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, my very first class. And I was like, whoa, I did not expect this many people. I had all the girls at the spa. I'm like, can y'all close y'all books for the day and help me? Because I didn't know how to manage that many people at one time.
You weren't expecting it.
I wasn't expecting it, but it was so good. The feedback I got, I am like forever their mentor. They can reach out to me at any time. So I always just had the, I guess, the need or not need. I always wanted to just help people. You know, that's just kind of my thing. So I'm a very generous person, and if I can help you in any way possible, I feel like that's why we vibe so well, because we both kind of just have a really big heart and we just love helping people.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. You both have
yeah,
very big
yeah.
hearts.
Aw.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it came naturally for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I think the same for me too, because what I'm teaching in, I'm so passionate about. Like, I don't want to teach just anything. I love microneedling. I love dermaplaning. I love chemical peels. So those are the things that more so I'm focusing on education. So it feels natural because they're things that I truly believe in. And I know that other estheticians need guidance in these areas too, you know? So Yeah, but for me it's interesting because I never thought I'd be teaching in the industry. I didn't even know if I really had enough patience, to be honest, to teach, but it has actually taught me a lot about being more patient and, understanding different personality types and how different people learn, I'm very much a hands-on learner, so when I connected with Herbal Skin Solutions, Caitlin, the owner, was renting a room in Orlando, so I connected with her for the microneedling class with the CIT pen. And again, I just felt like I was so engulfed with support from her that she really is like a mentor to me. She's one of those people that just I really would not be where I'm at in my career if it wasn't for her and the opportunities that she opened up for me, but also me putting myself out there, kind of getting over that initial fear of teaching other people. Am I good enough to be teaching this, And there are some like imposter syndrome things that I've had to experience and sometimes still do, I think it's natural, but now, transitioning from teaching in the treatment room to then, and like one-on-one classes to then also like being on stage at the trade shows and like, doing those classes. It's been wild, like a wild ride, but really good. It's really helped to build so much character in me too, I would say.
What would you say your experience is becoming an educator for ICS, for example? Like when we first introduced it to you, how did it start and how is it going?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Well, so it started with me and Caitlin doing the classes together. So I feel like the best part of like being asked to be an educator is coming up with a treatment and a new protocol.
Yes.
So we want to bring things that are fun and interesting, that might be a little bit trendy or a little controversial even, and kind of giving our take on those. We would, create these amazing protocols, something unique. And we do distribute a lot of other brands' modalities as well at Herbal Skin Solutions. So incorporating some of those things like microcurrent and high frequency and LED, and just trying to level up every single year to make it better and better. Because we do get really good feedback on our classes, thankfully. And then actually this last year, so we did that for about 2 years, co-teaching classes together. I would do the demo on stage and Caitlin would be the one speaking. And then this past year, Caitlin was out on maternity leave. So she was in Miami for the last show with us of the year, but now here I was having to do 3 cities of like a full-on, class by myself, and just like it was a little nerve-wracking. I was
did
definitely
so good,
like
you did so good.
But yeah, once you're up there, I feel like, and it's one of those things too, when I'm at the show, usually our class will be a little bit later in the day. So let's say our class is at 2:00, but we start at 10, right? I'm just making friends with every single person that comes to the booth, right? Come to my class. And that way, once I'm in class and I look out at the audience,
you recognize
faces.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we're already all friends. So I'm just talking to all my Esty besties here. And, we're all going to learn and have fun together, It takes the pressure off a little bit, but it's been such an amazing journey. And like I said, the exposure that it's given, to me in my career, and like now to be able to bring some of that experience into the Esty Collaborative and us be able to have like great connections from one another. Like we both bring such different value to the Esty Collaborative, which is, I think, what makes it work so well together too.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
What would you say to maybe an esthetician who has that heart to like give back to the community? Maybe it comes to her naturally, but maybe she's scared because she has a little bit of the imposter syndrome that you mentioned, and she just doesn't know whether like she's ready or she knows enough to teach. What advice would you give?
I would say when it comes to that, give yourself time, right? Don't get out of esthetician school and then a year later you're like, I want to be a teacher. You can, because you can actually specialize in your area within that time frame and do great at it, that's for sure. But you're not going to know everything about the industry and how to answer every question within the industry. Even now, we're still learning. We still ask each other questions like, what do you think I should do with this? So I feel that you should become an expert in your area of expertise before you want to go out there and start teaching classes. Once you're comfortable enough and you know that you're an expert in that area, I feel, start off small and just grow from there, There are some people that come out of school and they do great within their first year, and they're teaching classrooms full of people, and that's great. If it works for you, it works for you. So I'm not trying to, shoot nobody's dreams down, but I do think it's important to just know your stuff before you
to feel confident in what you're teaching.
Right.
Yeah.
Before you start, teaching a class.
Yeah.
And having other mentors too, I think, because we are constantly growing, and there are things, I mean, you could do 100 treatments of this one particular thing and you've never experienced a reaction like, your student just experienced.
Right.
So I think, for me, when I first started, it was definitely like reaching out to people that I learned from, hey, this is what's happened. What are your thoughts on it? And kind of talking through it together. So having those resources, I think, is important too.
Also, never stop learning, continue to take classes, grow within your industry. I still take classes. I just took a class in September. I went to Vegas to take a class. Like, I never stop learning. I've taken microneedling. She was the first person to train me. And then I took like 2 other microneedling classes after her, because everyone's technique is going to be different, but you learn something from each person to make yours your own, So never stop learning, and just do whatever is necessary to become that expert, so that when you are ready to transition to an educator, you can give feedback from different perspectives on how to handle different situations.
Yeah.
And
learning means growth, like no matter the industry,
sure.
right? Even me, when it comes to marketing or technology, it changes so much every single day. You have to be on top of your A game, right? If you're not doing your research, if you're not studying, if you're not whatever the case, you're not going to be able to grow the same amount as you would expect that you would grow.
Right.
So no matter the industry, I think that that's super important.
Yeah, don't assume that you know it all. Because we kind of are always going to be students, like in life in general.
Yeah.
So it's good to approach life that way, to approach business that way. Because especially this industry is such an ever-evolving industry. Like, it's really always changing. So you do have to be, like, really involved in it, and, like, attending shows and going to classes and just expanding your growth all the time.
Yeah.
Would you ladies say that, like, being an educator has even helped you become a better esthetician? Like, can you speak on that?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just honestly educating my clients, which I think is hard for some estheticians, especially when we're coming out of school, because, there's just, and even throughout the years, there's always new stuff, as you just mentioned. So it's us having to keep up with everything, because it's accessible to our clients too. So they're on the internet, they're researching.
Yeah.
TikTok is, a thing. People are seeing videos.
Oh
So
my gosh.
whether you offer it or not, they're going to come to you asking, hey, what your professional opinion? I trust you.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? You know? So that is, again, why it's important to, even if you're not doing everything, to understand what all's out there. But just educating my clients on, like, the importance of just having a good at-home skincare routine.
Right.
I mean, just really the basics that we think everybody should know, because they're basic to us as estheticians.
Like,
but
me, for example, when it comes to, like, Sam and my skincare, right? I'm not an esthetician again. So, like, for me, I'm the client, right? So I'm behind the chair. And I feel like a lot of times I just don't know what works for my skin, what doesn't. I've tested so many different kinds of products, of course, being in this industry. So my little Esty over here, the new little esthetician, Sam, I was struggling a lot with my skin. I don't know what was going on. Like, I've kind of had different moments with my skin where I usually am actually not acne prone whatsoever. Like, I've naturally had good skin, which very, very grateful for. But lately, I don't know why I've been kind of breaking out. And I came to Sam and I'm like, Sam, I don't understand. Like, this is what I'm using. This is what I'm doing. And she, asked me the basic, like, are you eating this? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And I was like, yes, yes, no, no. And she just came to me and she's like, you know what? I don't even think it's that big of a problem. I think you're just missing some hydration. And she kind of put together, like, 3 or 4 little simple products for me. And I've been using it, for maybe like 4 or 5 days, not even that much. And
your skin
look
got
at my skin,
so much
like,
better.
it completely cleared out. And I'm like,
It was just the barrier.
it was bad.
just the barrier. Yeah.
So then,
It's
like,
barrier.
absolutely. Like, I think me as, like, someone who's a client behind the chair, that's super important when you guys do that. Because if you don't educate us, we don't know, and we're just gonna kind of go with whatever trends are going on, or
Right.
oh, this
Following
product
those
looks cute, or it
influencers.
smells good, or whatever.
Yeah.
And little do you know that product is going to completely mess up your face.
Right.
Yeah. And I think it's important to like even don't just give a line and be like, this cleanser is going to be good for you. Like this, like explain why. Because you kind of want to end the confusion there. Like you don't want your client to try something and then later on to just like be like, oh, okay, I ran out of this cleanser. I'm just going to buy this
Go buy
cleanser
something else.
instead.
Yeah.
Like you want them to be like, no, my esthetician said this and I'm going to send her a picture to see if this cleanser is good for me or this serum is good for me, right? Because I think it can be confusing, even as estheticians. Like, it can be like the whole skincare world can be very,
overwhelming.
very. It's overwhelming
super
because there's so many options,
Yeah.
even for us
Yeah,
to
so
like
many
choose
products
what to use in the treatment
And
room.
so many ingredients.
Yeah.
And then you're just like,
Yes.
whoa,
Like
what do
she
I
sent
do?
me a picture of
Yeah.
like an esthetician had recommended like 10 products, and
You
I'm
don't
like,
need all
no, I'm
that.
like, come to
Yeah.
my office. You could use this, and that. This has like everything you need, and look,
And it
so.
worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
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 So
I
that's
love
definitely
that.
important, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
So how do you think, like, what do you think makes an exceptional educator? Like, what are the qualities, the attributes that makes a really good educator?
Experience and putting in the time
Mm-hmm.
and investing in yourself and making sure that you're constantly just reviewing the information and knowing how to answer every question to the best of your ability. I've had people where I would ask them a question, and I don't like if you call yourself an educator and you're like, let me go see. But it's
Yeah.
like that's
It
your.
has to come naturally.
It has to
Yeah.
come natural. You just have to know. If I tell you I have dehydrated skin, what do I use? If I tell you that I have hyperpigmentation, what treatment you suggest and why, or whatever the case is, you should just know your stuff. So I feel like what makes a great educator is just someone with time, experience, and that invest in themselves to become that.
I totally agree. Yeah. And to be able to offer resources like, mentorship, I understand like it's a very personal thing, who decides to be mentor. I love like the way Drea runs her classes and, has these girls that she's their go-to. They will call her like, this happened, help me get through it, and she'll talk them through it and, all the things. But yeah, I think having resources available after the class. Like if I've come to pay for your class, especially a good chunk of money, not just like a little virtual thing, but if I'm traveling, coming to your class, I want to know that if something happens when I go home and I start practicing my treatments, I can reach out to you and say, hey, this is what's going on. Why do you think this happened? What do you suggest on fixing it, helping this, that to me is most important, especially when you're getting into things like chemical peels, microneedling, like these more advanced treatments, you are going to have times where things go wrong.
Yeah.
So having an instructor that goes through those things with you too in class, contraindications, possible risks, along with the benefits is really important to just understand it, the theory part of it too. Even though I am a hands-on learner, but you have to understand the theory because that's what's going to help you explain the process to your clients.
Right.
Or understand if something goes wrong. Like I do feel like, not to say I don't reach out for help because like she said, me and her all the time are like bouncing back and forth.
Right.
But for a lot of things, I can kind of just look at a picture, give me the details on what your protocol was. And I'm like, this is probably what it was, so, and this is how you can help correct it. So my students can do the same for me. Anybody that I've trained in the past can reach out to me and we'll talk through it, because sometimes it can be like a hit to your confidence. When you've taken a class, invested all this money, and now you have a client, something's gone wrong. And if you don't have somebody to go to help you get through that moment,
You're just going to give up.
You feel like alone.
And then
You
the
feel
whole
alone, for
investment was not worth it,
Yeah, I think that's what's the most important with people who teach classes or does these kinds of events is make sure like post-event, post-class, that you're able to have that one-on-one, connection with that mentor, that trainer, that if something does go wrong, you're boom, let me dial them in and they answer right away and they're there to solve the problem. Because of course, if that happens, which it does, like you said, in real time, then you can get frustrated and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you freak out, your client knows you're freaking out.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
another thing,
cannot
too.
have that. You got
Yeah.
to keep your cool,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just try to do your best with
Which I think
assisting the
also at
client.
times, just like, again, whether it's like with the estheticians or with the spa or just in life in general, like that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
We're human. So, your client's going to understand if you just kind of like calmly tell them like, hey, heads up, this just happened. like one time I got a dermaplaning done. They're like, hey, just heads up. Like I did, cut you a little bit. Are you okay? Like, do you feel it? And I was like, no, I'm okay. Okay. Like I'm going to go ahead and put this on it now so that I'm, disinfecting it. Like that kind of gives you more reassurance and you don't freak out and you're like, okay, something happened, but you're okay.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of like doing it a little bit more smoothly, I feel like is also probably a good idea.
Yeah, being upfront and honest right in the beginning when it happens, because if your client goes home and they feel a burning or see a cut, they're going to be like, well, what happened?
They're going to reach out to you so quick.
Exactly. Like,
it's happened to me before.
Yeah. Well, even Sam, do you mind me talking about
No,
our experience in class?
Go ahead.
So when we did our microneedling class a couple weeks ago, so I had Sam and there was another girl, Ashley, was also there. And so Ashley's working on Sam and Sam's face just started puffing up. Like it was getting red. We were getting in the erythema that we were looking for, but she essentially was having a histamine reaction, which she had kind of already mentioned.
It was itchy.
We went into it knowing that it's a possibility. So we're just checking her comfort level. Are you feeling okay? I have the fan in one hand, like Ashley's, microneedling in the other. We're like, are you good? Do you think, we can finish? Yeah, I'm good. She popped some Benadryl. Honestly, after you got out from the LED, it pretty much was subsided
down.
almost.
And the soothing mask you put on me, the sheet mask, helped a lot.
The sheet mask. Yeah. So, but it was something unexpected. And, I don't want Sam to freak out because, this is happening and I don't want my other student to get nervous that this is happening. It's actually almost better when things like that happen in class. And we even talked about that too, because now you experienced it with an instructor right there to guide you through the whole thing.
It's like a normal process.
Exactly. If this happens, don't freak out. Like it's okay. This is what you can do to correct or help soothe that. And now I think it was a great learning experience for both of you.
Sure. I mean, so my mom, she got that reaction with me, and I saw her face and it blew up, and I was like, oh, thank God I had my instructor there with me. But I freaked out more than my mom. I was like, oh my God, your face is getting puffy. Like, is that normal? Oh my gosh. But the way that you ladies handled it, like I knew that it was like a possibility. Some clients are a little bit anxiety prone. Like I think because I'm more anxiety prone, I do have that compassion where like I could read body language really easily when there's a client there, and I can see like, if they feel a little bit tense, if sometimes it's good to like just over explain things and over communicate so that they know that they're safe. Because sometimes trying like microneedling can be a little bit, I mean, it's invasive, right? That was the most invasive treatment I've done. Yeah. So it's also like, what is your client used to, right?
Right.
And just talking to them, you guys did a really good job. I think like because you were so calm, I was able to stay calm because I was a little bit like, oh my gosh.
I know. We had a little bit of a moment.
I was like, should we continue?
Okay.
Should we stop? Just do one half of my face?
Yeah, and that's the thing, checking in with the client, making sure that they're feeling okay, especially if you see something that you're, how does this area feel? Do you feel any extra activity? If you're doing a chemical peel and you see some of that like frosting happening,
See something, say
something.
something.
Yeah.
I
no,
love
for sure.
that.
I love that.
I do love that, actually.
Where'd you get it?
Perfect.
So if anyone is interested in getting some more information on these hands-on classes, how can they get that?
We have all of our classes listed on the estcollaborative.com. We do one training class per month. It just varies on the topic. But yeah, you can find the information there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, I just have 2 more questions.
Okay.
So how do you, because I know you ladies talked about your mission, right? You have like this vision, and I kind of wanted you to go deeper a little bit on that. Like, how do you hope to shape the aesthetics industry with your impact?
That's
in so many ways.
You can start and I'll finish.
Yeah. Connection is the most important. Like finding your tribe of Esty besties, because those are going to be the people that, especially as a solo business owner, if that's your goal or that's what you're working towards or working in, that network of people is so important. And again, like from all my Esty, I would not be where I'm at in my career today if it wasn't for my Esty besties over the years. So I think just getting people more confident, getting estheticians more confident too in the treatment room, especially when they're just coming out of school, or if they have been doing kind of the same, you know, things for a while and they're looking for a refresh or a reset. We really hope to give them that inspiration. We like to have fun. You know, we have our events. We did like a wine event earlier this year. We did a vision board event,
Ooh,
you know,
I love
so yeah.
We're going to do our vision board right here.
Yeah, you should.
Hang it
you
up,
should.
look at it every single day for 2025 and beyond, and set goals, you know, feel good about being in presence of other estheticians, learning
Right.
from other estheticians. We have also been planning something really
But
exciting.
wait, before she gets to that, I just want to say that we would like to shape the industry by inspiring estheticians.
Yeah.
Like that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah.
You just need people. You know, you just can't do it alone.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we inspire each other every single day. So that's what we want to get back to the community.
You inspire us. And that's what we hope to do with this podcast too.
Yeah.
Because it is sometimes you can kind of lose that spark, right? And you need to like reignite it. And it does take some effort in the beginning to reignite that spark. And you sometimes do have to go out of your shell a little bit to do that, which is so amazing that you ladies host events and stuff. Because if you are feeling like a little bit like you've just been in your box and stuff, like go to an event.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah,
what
it was
was
the
a
news.
surprise?
So we've
That's what
been
I wanna
working
know.
and planning something big.
Yes.
We would love to be able to put on our own conference
Yes.
of education with exhibitors and again a nice networking event, an educational event that estheticians can come to and just learn, you know, and we're want to make it super unique, you know, in our own way, just like you guys do with ICES, you know, and bring a lot of value, you know, to the estheticians in our area. So
Oh my gosh.
I love
That is
that.
so exciting.
CollabCon.
I wanna
It's
get
gonna
my
be,
ticket.
It's gonna be named CollabCon.
Oh my God, I love that.
CollabCon
CollabCon.
2025.
We are going to be the
2025.
first purchased tickets.
I love anything with like
it.
con because it's like it's kind of
It's
like you get like a
exciting.
cult following kind
Yeah.
of.
Yes.
We're all like really dressed up and stuff and
no, for sure.
be a part of the collab.
We're so excited about the CollabCon. The tentative date is April 27th of 2025.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So we'll have more details and things coming out in January. So look forward to.
So where can they stay tuned for this?
Yeah, so we'll be talking about it on the podcast, definitely, which the podcast episodes air every other Thursday. So we'll have information on there probably next year too, really speaking with more of our vendors and exhibitors, having them on the podcast to be able to talk about what they can offer and what people can expect, you know, by coming to the CollabCon.
Yeah. Also, just keeping in touch on our Facebook page as well as Instagram. You'll be able to just keep updated and get the information that you need for the CollabCon there.
Yeah.
Well, Estes, you heard it here first.
Yes. This is literally the first time we've talked about it outside of just between the two of us.
Right.
So
We're
it is
honored.
something.
Guys, you have no, we're like so nervous, but we feel that it's going to be good.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah, just going with the
Just
flow.
go with the flow,
Yeah.
day
And
by
if you
day,
need
and
any
it's gonna
tips
be-
and stuff, you guys have
Yes.
us to like reach out to.
Absolutely. We would love to be part of it.
Yes, you will. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we'll
no,
get
for
back
sure.
together, do some more brainstorming, and see
Absolutely.
how ICS L&E can contribute.
Yeah.
We want to
for
thank you
sure.
ladies so much for being our first guests on our first podcast.
And we'll make sure to include all of that information in the show notes, Estes. But you can watch more of the Esty Collaborative on their podcast. Make sure to follow them on Instagram at the Esty Collaborative. And
Thank you for having
Thank you,
us.
ladies.
You guys are going to kill it. We're so excited to
So
start
excited.
keeping up with all of your episodes in January.
Yes.
We're
so
so excited.
congratulations.
Yeah, stay tuned. Launching
tuned.
in January.
Yes.
Yes.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.